Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. If you're new around here, this is S&S Horseshoeing YouTube channel. My name's Sheldon. I'm a journeyman farrier, and today I'm going to be putting a winter package on this horse. You can tell right there it's got kind of a unique shoe on it. This horse has navicular disease. This horse also struggles with thrush. Me and the owner have been working together, and still this horse kind of has problems with thrush. It has its whole life, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to kind of help get the thrush under control. And also, something I struggled with for a while was shaping aluminum shoes. So I'm gonna, for you farriers out there, I'm gonna give you some tips to shaping aluminum shoes. So stay tuned for that. As I work on getting this horse's foot trimmed up, you'll notice I probably won't even use my nippers. There's just not a lot of foot to take off from the bottom. This horse grows more foot. He just flares a lot instead of growing down. And so, I clean up the bottom, take all the tags off the sole and the frog and stuff. But then a lot of it's just collecting up the foot because he doesn't grow a lot of depth. He just more flares. So it's just a matter of taking your rasp and collecting all that up. Something kind of funny, you'll notice this horse is talking quite a bit. They just moved him to a different stall in the stable that he's in. And he's kind of got real attached to the horse that's next to him. And so, since I'm not shoeing him right there by his buddy, he's talking a bunch trying to get his buddy to answer him, but apparently his buddy's not as attached to him as he is to his buddy, and that's kind of getting him worried because his buddy's not answering him, and so he keeps talking, trying to get him to answer. So anyway, that's why he's hollering and making a big old fuss. But another little side note, a lot of you guys mentioned you'd like to see a video of the horse or a picture of the horse, and actually this time I remember to do it. A lot of times I get so caught up in the feed I forget to show you guys the horse, but this time I did, and I threw that video in at the end. So appreciate your suggestions. If you guys have any more suggestions, put them down in the comments. I do try to read through those, so appreciate your suggestions. Hey. Okay, folks, let's get to talking about shaping aluminum shoes. I'm going to be doing that here in a second and giving you some tips. So if you haven't shaped aluminum shoes, that's pretty similar. If you've ever hit a baseball with a bat and had to wring your hands, that's how it is shaping aluminum shoes cold. And especially these bar shoes, it's pretty much impossible to shape them without some heat. So this is how I figured out how to do it. I stick it in there, then I count to 30 in my head, and I pull it out and see if it's good. And if it's ready, it's going to turn your little piece of paper. It's going to put a char mark on your paper, and you can see right there it didn't do anything. So what I do is I stick it back in there for 10 seconds, try it again, still nothing, and I'll ruin it for you. And here on this next one it's going to show it. So look, you can see it leaves a little brown mark right there, and then you know your aluminum's at the right temperature. Aluminum is not like steel. You can't just throw it in there and forget it. It'll melt into a puddle in the bottom of the thing, and these are pretty expensive shoes, and me on my college budget, I might cry if these shoes melted into a puddle in the bottom of my forge. So anyway, that's a tip for doing it, and it makes them similar to shaping shoes hot. And so if you haven't tried that, I highly recommend it. It'll change your life. So you'll see right here on the back of the shoe, these are egg bar shoes, and I'm not a big fan of egg bars. I don't have a whole lot of uses for them, and I just figure that extra length out there is going to give the horse a way to pull off the shoe. And so I straighten up the back of that bar. Another reason I do that is it's going to bring that bar and put it right under the back of the frog, and I'll show you here in a second. I'll put some dental impression material under there, and it gives a hard surface for that dental impression material to push off of, and to support the frog and engage the frog. So I shape the toe, and now I'm putting a rolled toe on there. You've seen me in the past do rocker toes. This one I'm just doing a rolled toe, and just take leverage off of the toe of this horse. This horse, like I mentioned a second ago, tends to just flare and get a lot of toe on him. Kind of be a low-heeled long toe horse, and so I put a rocker on there to help him out. Some other tips I forgot to mention. You notice I just did that on a rag in the back of my truck. You can use any kind of paper, a sheet of white paper, whatever you got that'll char like that and show that it's hot enough to shape. Another thing, farrier gave me some words of wisdom. Said they told me not to let go of your aluminum shoe when you got it in the forge, because you'll realize you need more nails, or you'll start talking to somebody and forget about it and forget to count or something, and you'll waste a shoe in the bottom of your forge. And so that's just a word of wisdom I'll pass on to you, and do what you want with it. So here I'm just checking my fit, and obviously the shoe's not hot enough. People say aluminum gets hot enough to burn on. I've never messed with that. I'm just checking my fit there, and the shoe's still too hot to touch, so I use my hot fit tongs, but I'm not actually burning the shoe on. So here I'll show you another way to put pads on. In a video or so ago, I'll put a link to that video right here. I showed you how to put pads on. This is a similar way. So you just nail your pad on full on. This you can do with any kind of pad. These are snow pads, and I'll explain why they're snow pads here in a second. Then you just take your tin snips and run it around, and then take it to the grinder. If you want to rasp the rest of that pad off, you can do that. So I mentioned that this is a snow pad, and you can see that bubble right in the middle of the shoe. And so what that's for is it's a flexible bubble that keeps the snow from piling up. Here's a picture of what happens with horses with shoes on in the snow. If they're barefoot, it doesn't happen so much, but with shoes on, the snow gets trapped in there and builds up. And you may ask, well, why don't you just take the shoes off for the wintertime, which I do on a lot of clients' horses. But with these are Therapeutic shoes, and this horse will go lame if we don't have shoes on. So we're just doing front shoes, and these bubble pads will keep the snow out. There's another kind of snow pad that's a rim pad, and I actually like those better most of the time. I'm using these ones on this horse because we're going to put a thrush treatment under there, and this pad will keep that treatment up against the foot and help get rid of that thrush. Sorry about the mess there in the back of my truck. I was getting ready for a certification, and so I was kind of in an all-out blitz to get things ready, and heck, the back of my truck's probably a good representation of what my brain looked like getting ready for that certification and all the information I had to pack in and stuff. So apologize about that. Usually I'm a little more organized. So what you saw me put there on my anvil there is called copper sulfate. They're copper sulfate crystals, and I'm gonna, I guess, impregnate, if you will, that into just normal kind of standard hoof pack that you put under a pad. And this is rate hoof packing. I tend to like rate hoof packing, so I just mix it in there real good. And what my idea behind that is, I'll stick it under the pad, and then through the shoeing cycle those crystals will dissolve, and then it'll kind of keep a constant treatment for that thrush under there. And the bacteria that I'm trying to kill that actually cause thrush is called Fusobacterium necrophorium. Not sure who came up with that crazy name, but there you go. So this right here that you see me mixing up is called dental impression material. You've seen me use that in the past, and I'm going to use that stuff for a couple different reasons. Obviously, like I mentioned, this horse has thrush, and I mentioned on that egg bar, I turned it into more of a straight bar and brought that bar under the frog. And so then this dental impression material is going to go between that bar and the frog, and then it's going to help engage that frog and expand the frog. I mentioned this horse has had problems with thrush for a long time, and chronic thrush eats away the frog and makes the frog weak. And then you'll notice on this horse it kind of has contracted heels a little bit. And so what this dental impression is going to do, like I mentioned, engage the frog, hopefully spread those heels out a little bit. But also, you saw I also put the copper sulfate on that dental impression material, and so that's going to be up against the frog and hopefully just torch that thrush. Yeah. So you'll notice I'm just putting 2 nails in the shoe and then going to the other side and setting the foot down. And that's important because that dental impression material, it's like a time clock. You're trying to beat the clock and not let it set up before you set the foot down, because then it won't be formed perfectly to the horse's foot, and it'll be like a pebble in the bottom of their shoe. You don't want that. So just set the foot down, go to the other side, and get your other shoe nailed on, and by then it should be set up just fine. Then what I'm doing here, you remember I put those nails through the pad just to hold the pad in place while I was getting it all set up. And then once you get a couple nails in there, you can pull those nails that you chopped off out and then stick a good nail in there all the way up through the foot. I forgot to mention, I've done this horse before. Some of you guys are probably thinking, hey, I've seen this horse in kind of similar setup. And so since doing my last video on this horse, I've gone to a navicular shoe that's a bar shoe. Last time I was doing an open-heeled navicular shoe, and the thought behind that was because I knew this horse struggled with thrush, and so I thought if I did an open-heeled shoe, the foot would clean out a little better and maybe hopefully keep the thrush at bay. But I found that this horse was just too active, got rode too much, and it would wear through the shoes, and the shoes would just, because they're aluminum, they're a little weaker, and the horse would just wear through them. And so I needed the extra kind of integrity of that bar to hold the shoe together. If not, the shoe would already almost be worn in half by the time I got back. So I'll link that video of me doing this horse previously right here, just if you want to go watch that. Okay, folks, I wanted to wish you guys a happy new year and hope you guys are having a good start to the new year. And also apologize a little bit. This right towards the end of last year, we got a little quiet on YouTube. School kind of got a little overwhelming for me, and I had to prioritize my time a little bit. So I apologize about that. We got some exciting plans for the new year. Vet school should be coming to an end, and maybe we'll transition, get you guys some videos about vet stuff mixed in with the horseshoe, and hopefully that'll be exciting. If you want to have another way to keep up with what I'm doing, I'll try to keep you guys posted on Instagram and Facebook. I'll put a link to that here. And there's the video, as I promised, him walking with his new shoes. He's showing off to his buddies there over in their pen. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And like always, remember who you are, be kind to those around you, stand up for what you believe in, and we'll catch you at the next one.